What's good? Oh, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Hello, everyone. We are back. We're back with another episode of the Lightning Round Podcast, episode number 76. We usually do this on Tuesdays, but as of late, I've been doing this on weekends because it is the playoffs. So what's good, y'all? Welcome. I got about an hour in me until the game starts. So I'll try the best I can to knock these sports scores out the way real quick, and then we're probably going to continue on what we were doing yesterday, which was we were doing more of the alerts. So we'll see what we can do from there. But what's good, y'all? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? To be honest, I could have got home earlier, but knowing what was going down, I had to make my way there. I had to go over to the M lot. I had to say hi to a couple people. I'm happy I said hi at the cost of my feet being fucking cooked from all that walking. Oh my god. The only more good news that came out of it was I bought my mom a Saquon Barkley jersey. I know she's happy about that. But other than that, man, it's all worth it. It'll all be worth it if Eagles handle their business today. So with this episode, we only got really one thing to talk about. Now, unless if you guys got any more things you want to bring up, feel free. I got no problem with that. But as far as I'm concerned, it's all sports this time around, unless some other shit comes up where it's like if it's gaming related, we'll talk about it. If it's anything with anime or whatever the fuck it is, we'll talk about it. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's all sports, and we just gonna keep it that way. So to get started, we're gonna talk about the NFL divisional games. We're gonna recap them before we go ahead and we talk about what's gonna happen in an hour. So let's go ahead and recap. Let's talk about what happened last week because I didn't get the chance to talk about what happened last week. Okay, because I think I got off after that. And while I said I was going to talk about it, I was too fucking excited to where I wanted to talk about it. This might be the same case here. Who knows? I don't know. But for right now, Chiefs Texans. We'll talk about this. Chiefs beat the Texans 23-14 in controversial fashion, I should say. Now, it's not to say that we think that is not to say that we think the Texans were going to win this game. To be quite honest with you, I had Texans losing this game. Not the way how I thought they would lose this game. Now, the way that I thought they would lose this game would be, okay, they're down two big wide receivers. They're down Stephon Diggs. They're down Tank Dell. Who the fuck is CJ Stroud going to throw to? In fairness to the Chiefs, they held them to 14 like they should, because if you're down two wide receivers, you shouldn't be able to get as many explosive plays off. You shouldn't be able to get as many touchdowns, not as many scores. So they held them to 14, and CJ Stroud didn't throw a touchdown. They got 14 all through field goals and a safety. And that safety, albeit at the end of the game. But Patrick Mahomes goes for 16-25, 177 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt goes for 8 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. Travis Kelce looking like, I swear to you, I don't know what the fuck is it with some of these tight ends. Travis Kelce is out here going on his Jason Witten arc in terms of trying to, in terms of just, he's slow as fuck, but he still knows how to get open despite being slow as fuck, which will forever annoy the hell out of me. It's like, look, you know this guy is still dangerous despite how slow he is, and yet for some reason, God knows why, you still let him get wide open. But yeah, Chiefs, they pull out the dub. I mean, they won through touchdown, to a couple of touchdowns, one passing touchdown from Mahomes, a rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt, and the rest of it was just field goals from what I can tell. So there's no other way to put it. So they did enough to win the game. My thing is, if the Chiefs try to do this against the Bills, I actually don't think they're gonna win that game. And we'll see what'll happen because look, the way how we see this, there's always some fuckery going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think everybody here wants the Kansas City Chiefs to lose this game because they're looking like a worse version of the fucking Tom Brady dynasty. I say worse because here's the deal with Tom Brady dynasty that people like to forget. Now, yes, people hated the Patriots dynasty. Don't mistake that. Okay? People hated the Tom Brady dynasty. They hated the fact that they kept on winning. But the difference between why we hated Tom Brady dynasty versus why we hate the Patrick Mahomes dynasty, it goes from two separate things at the end of the day. The reason we hate the Tom Brady dynasty is the fact that these motherfuckers kept getting back to the playoffs, time in, time out, day in, day out, and these motherfuckers kept on winning. Now, it's not to say that they didn't have any controversial calls their way. It's not to say that they didn't have bullshit go their way. That is absolutely true. They absolutely did. There's no mistaking that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you still had to sit up there and find a way to stop Tom Brady. It wasn't hard to stop. Like, it was hard to stop Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong. But you knew the formulas to stop him, and not every team had that. The only teams that had this, which was clear as day because they're the only teams to stop him from winning more Super Bowls than usual, which would be the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, which was real simple. Rush 4 guys, have 4 great pass rushers, and rush the fuck out of Tom Brady. Do the best you can to get his ass on the ground or put as much pressure on him. Not a lot of teams could do that. And on top of that, you had to stop a couple of his targets. Now, granted, early on, Tom Brady, he had nobody, and the man was still winning, which is fucking nuts. He had next to no one, but all he had with him all he had with him was a great defense and a great kicker as well, because that kicker won them a couple of Super Bowls that, let's be honest, they had no business winning. So, with that being said, that's why we hated the Patriots dynasty. Is the fact that, look, we had to stop these motherfuckers at the end of the day, and Tom Brady had next to nothing to work with and still won no Super Bowls right before he got his main target, which was, no, not Gronkowski, it was Randy Moss. And we know what happened the year they got Randy Moss. And then right after Randy Moss, there was Rob Gronkowski, and the rest is history. And then Julian Edelman. The fact of the matter is, yes, that the dynasty's long hated for a lot of reasons. You could even go back to the cheating scandal with him deflating footballs. But at the end of the day, motherfuckers still could not stop that dude from accurately placing the football when it mattered. And he didn't really bitch for flags like how Patrick Mahomes is doing right now. No, real shit. I mean, it'll be hard to find a clip of Tom Brady bitching for a flag before you'll find one of Patrick Mahomes. The thing is with Mahomes is he does this like damn near every game. He's been doing this for a while now. Tom Brady is some simple shit. If he sees that you're not covering your guys, he's just going to give them the ball. Plain and simple. I mean, can't put it no more blunt than that. I mean, fuck it. If you're not covering this route, I'm going to give it to him. If you're not covering that route, I'm going to give it to him. Oh, well, you're light in the box, I'm going to give it to my running back. Like, he systematically picked defenses apart. Like, that's the quarterback that I'd be afraid of the most to go up against, and I still am, even though he's retired. Because at the end of the day, what hurts is this is the main thing with Tom Brady that amazes me how a lot of teams don't do. They literally pick you apart by death by 1,000 cuts. They do this every fucking game, and no team could just figure that shit out. They will go 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, and then 10 yards, and then 15, and then 20. Just because you let them keep giving them 5 yards. Like, they would gladly take 5 yards per play. So it's known that Mahomes ain't shit. Yeah, pretty much. Now, in the case of Mahomes, here's the deal. There's no mistaking Patrick Mahomes either. He's a talented quarterback, right? We knew this. Even coming out of college, he wasn't great, but we knew he had the arm strength, and it went like, oh my God, if he went to a damn good quarterback coach, he could be a fucking problem. And lo and behold, that's exactly where he went. Went right to Andy Reid, the best quarterback coach fucking known to man. And the rest is history there. There's no mistaking what Patrick Mahomes' accomplishments have done. Mans has won MVPs. He's won a couple Super Bowls. But here's the deal that people will never get over with him is the fact that he cries like a little bitch each time he's near the sidelines. And he knows damn well that defenses, they're scared to hit him. Now, this, I blame on the NFL more than I blame Patrick Mahomes. Because they're so protective of the quarterback that they know damn well each time he's on the sidelines that they can't hit him. Because if they even so much as hit him, the ref's going to be like, oh, well, no, that's a flag. We can't hit him. Like, I've seen Tom Brady hatred before. We all have seen Tom Brady hatred before. But this is taking it up to the next fucking level. And I mean that sincerely, to the next level. Whereas, look, we love Andy Reid. We just hate the team you're on. Because they're a bunch of assholes. Where they will bitch and cry for every flag if shit don't go their way. So that's what I'm saying is, look, whoever comes out of this 3 p.m. game, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's the Commanders, both fan bases better fucking pray that the Buffalo Bills do their job, because that's a big one. That's just as much of a big one as this. Because if we're going to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs again, they're looking at three-peating. And let's be real. The NFL world, not named the owners, not named Roger Goodell, not named the rest. The NFL world don't want this. I don't want this. Do you want to see a Chiefs 3-peat? I sure as fuck don't. Because they don't deserve a 3-peat. Especially this season, where they should have lost so many games, but they all won by damn near one possession. I remember there was a chart that, of course, if y'all know Doug Bose sent me this chart. And he showed me the teams that won through one possession games. He said if you flip that around, thanks to this chart, if you was to flip that around, the Chiefs would be like in the top 5 in the NFL draft because they would have lost that many games. That shows you how much they've won by one possession. That shows you they had no business. They have no business even being in the playoffs for real. And it's all thanks to the refs and bullshit. And I say bullshit because ain't no way where these teams go up against it. They go up, they'll on 1 week or 2 weeks, they'll face this team. They'll play like they trying to, like, they play like they have something to prove. They play like they ready to actually beat the hell out of this team. And then every time they go up against the Chiefs, they shrivel up like a fucking grape. And it's very annoying. Like, really, really annoying. And this is when the Chiefs were not at their best like they are right now, because we know when it's playoff time, every team's got to turn it up come playoff time. They have no choice. You'd be bitter too if the Eagles got fucked over by them in the Super Bowl. Actually, Omega, we did. You missed it. Where were you in Super Bowl? Where were you in Super Bowl 57? Where we got fucked over by grass and we got fucked over by a defensive holding call that led to a game-winning field goal. Literally the Super Bowl. Before your Super Bowl. The Eagles and 49ers both. The Chiefs won back-to-back off of the Eagles and the 49ers. That shows you how much I don't care about the Kansas City Chiefs. It'd be one thing if they beat us legit for real. It'd be one thing. But it took a bullshit grass issue, because let me give y'all a little bit of context, okay, with how good the 2022 Eagles defense was before I get any further into this video. The Eagles 2022 defense had the most sacks since the 85 Bears. This continued on throughout the playoffs. The most sacks in the playoffs. And I'm sorry, the most sacks throughout the whole season since the 85 Bears. But you mean to tell me the one game we go up against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? We go up against them. We couldn't lay a fucking hand on Patrick Mahomes. Man's jersey was clean throughout most of the fucking game. And the only reason we couldn't lay a hand on him is because the grass is slipping all over the place. And you wonder what makes it worse? Right? What makes it worse, at the end of the game, this is the final play of the game, this sealed the Eagles' fate. Literally a defensive holding call when they weren't calling a holding all game. All game. All 55 minutes worth of game. The refs didn't call not one holding call on either team, and they wait till the end of the game to call a holding call. Granted, it was the correct call, but you want to know what makes it crazy? If they want to call that, where were the rest of the calls that should have been made in that game that they didn't call at all? Because we can look at a vid with the amount of times the Chiefs get away with penalties and the Chiefs get away with holding. So, yeah, Omega, I wish you was there in 2022. Where you would have saw how we got fucked over. And we got fucked over pretty bad. Pretty bad. I make a case, nah, fuck that. It was worse than how y'all got fucked over. Because this happened at the end of the game, plus you had to deal with grass conditions. In a dome, grass conditions. Imagine that. How do you deal with wet, slippery grass in a dome? That still don't make sense. You tell me how that makes sense. But yeah, all I know is this. Chiefs advance. Everybody knew Chiefs was advancing. Now we go on to the Bills and Ravens. All I gotta say is this, right? For the Bills, you won this game. You limited your mistakes. All I know is this: whether it's the Eagles or whether it's the Commanders that walk out of this game today in 1 hour. Whoever walks out of this game, you better beat the Chiefs. I don't fucking care. You better beat the Chiefs. Because look, as a football fan, at the end of the day, Eagles fan or not, I don't want to go up against the Chiefs. Because this shit ain't fun no more with them. It wasn't fun when they went back to back, it wasn't fun. Like, we're tired of teams playing, like, Here's how I see it, okay? Real shit. This is why I want the Bills to win so bad. Save the Eagles, and I said this again. I said this last lightning round. I will repeat it and say it again. Real shit. If I had to pick a team to lose to in the Super Bowl, should the Eagles win today, I would rather lose to the Buffalo Bills. Because the Buffalo Bills actually earned their fucking Super Bowl win. They went to 4 Super Bowls and lost those 4 when they were in the Jim Kelly era. Imagine how soul-crushing that is. To lose the championship game 4 fucking times. In your best era, you couldn't walk out with a Super Bowl. But now you come back in a new era. You come back in the Josh Allen era, and you want to secure what is supposed to be your first Super Bowl. I'd rather lose to a team like that and not add to the legacy that is the Kansas City Chiefs, because fuck their legacy at the end of the day. The 49ers had to live through their legacy twice. I'd rather not follow up and be added on there again as well. I'd rather not be added on there a second time. And I know that hurts for me saying that with Omega, who's here, and he has to hear that. But look, I don't want to go down the path that the 49ers had to go through, where you had to face the Chiefs twice and you had to blow it. I'm not trying to go do that. So please, for all that is holy, Buffalo, for both NFC East fans' sake, you better win today's game. Now, I also see it like this. If it was the Ravens, I don't think the Ravens would have beaten the Chiefs. I can't see it. Yes, they were a foot away. They were toes away from beating them week 1. But I can't see them beating them. I just can't. Because the Ravens did exactly what the Titans did, which should scare Ravens fans when it goes to further playoff implications when we go into this next year with the playoffs and the Ravens make it. You want to know what I'm scared of? It's not because of the teams they face. It's because of the Ravens themselves. The issue they have, for some weird-ass reason, these teams go away from Derrick Henry. And I ask this one simple question. Why? Why? This goes for the Titans as well. Why do you waste Derrick Henry's playoff career like this? Why are we doing this to him? This is arguably the most dominant running back we've seen in years. And you're wasting him in the playoffs. Meanwhile, let's go over to Philadelphia. Oh, look, we got Saquon fucking Barkley. The rest is history with what's going on right now with Saquon Barkley. The way how the Eagles are using Saquon Barkley, that's what the Titans and that's what the Ravens should be doing with Derrick Henry. I'm not kidding. This is cold winter playoff weather, man. And you want to know who should be the toughest to stop in the playoffs? Oh, I don't know. How about a 250-pound freaking Mack truck by the name of Derrick Henry? You would think by hearing that and in winter weather, you'd be like, oh shit. I have to tackle this motherfucker? However, you go into the game and you're like, nope, I don't gotta tackle this motherfucker. Not that much. Because they only carried the ball 16 times. They only had 84 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, the Ravens decide to say, you know what? Let's leave this to the hands of Lamar Jackson. And this is what happens when you leave it to the hands of Lamar Jackson. Now, yes, Lamar's going to be an MVP. This is not me slighting him, but this is how I see it with how that game went. Lamar Jackson, he fumbled the ball and he threw a bad interception. I think the first one was a bad interception, and then after that, I think it was the fumble. I don't know for sure, but all I know is this. When that turnover was made, I would have said, okay, you know what? It's the Derrick Henry show. Let's have fun. So, yeah, it should be the Ravens that are in this position because I'm going to be honest with you. The Ravens, in my opinion, they're a more talented team than the Bills. Let's be real. Let's be real. They have the better running back. They're equal when it goes to quarterback. Their wide receiver position, yes, Zay Flowers is not in this game, but because him not being in that game for me, it made it a wash. Because, look, I understand I'm kind of underrating the Buffalo Bills receivers, but they're nobody to speak of. For real. They're just like this. The Bills right now are like the Patriots of old on when it goes to offense. I'm not kidding. Like, name anybody on that Patriots offense before Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, and Randy Moss got there. You could probably only name like one guy, and that's like Wes Welker. And even then, you would know that's a slot wide receiver. He's not a guy putting up 1,000 yards receiving each time. They had guys there that were like average to above average. Like, they weren't real known names, but they were just there to get the job done. And right now, that's the Buffalo Bills offense. Because if you was to shut down, good luck, by the way, if you were to shut down Josh Allen, which is easier said than done, what the fuck are these receivers going to do? Hell, better yet, if you just give him no throwing lanes to go to, again, good luck with that. Where's Josh Allen going to go with the football? The main known guy he has is Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper ain't. This is not Cowboys Amari Cooper. This is a show of himself. This ain't Alabama Amari Cooper. Okay? So, this situation with him, this situation with this Bills offense, it all runs through Josh Allen. If Josh Allen ain't doing good, the team is fucked. But that's what makes it so crazy to me when it goes to the Ravens offense. Y'all are way more talented than this, and y'all still blew it. The only biggest question, and this is where I felt like it was a wash entirely, is when it went to both teams' defense. And this is what's going to come into play come the Super Bowl, and I want y'all to pay attention to this. If these defenses cannot get critical stops when it matters, especially not only in this championship game, but if they can't do it in the Super Bowl, the NFC is going to be walking out with the Super Bowl. Because I have severe questions when it goes to the Bills offense. I'm sorry, not Bills offense, the Bills defense. Yes, I have questions when it goes to their offense, but not as much as their defense. Because their defense put up, the Ravens put up 25 on them. They could have won this game if they would have just protected the ball. They could have tied the game and went to overtime. They could have did that. Now, the one saving grace I'll give them is they routed the Broncos. But other than that, the Patriots beat them. Granted, they weren't playing their guys. The Jets, okay. They handled their business versus the Jets. The Patriots put up 21. The Lions put up 42. The Rams put up 44. You know what I mean? This defense is kind of teetering off a little. I don't know about you. Like they're not crazy good, but they're good enough to get the job done. That's how I see the Bills entirely as a team, not named Josh Allen and James Cook. That's it. They're not gonna wow you. They're not gonna really shut down you. They're not gonna really shut you down, but they will just do just enough situational football to put you out. And that's actually the Chiefs as well. That's been the Chiefs most of the year. That's both of these teams. So we're going to find out with this conference championship game for the AFC who's going to do just enough to go to the Super Bowl on defense. Not on offense, on defense. And I can't wait to find that out very soon. Now, I've talked about this for 27 minutes. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about these two. All right, Commanders beat the Lions 45-31. Jayden Daniels had himself a game. Let me say this ahead of time. Jayden Daniels, anybody in the NFC, that includes us, if he keeps up this pace in 2 to 3 years, you will see them back in the NFC Championship game. I'm letting you know now. If he keeps this up 2 to 3 years from now, they will be back in the NFC Championship game. Because what he's doing with this team, granted, under the circumstances that certain teams have, I will give him the legit win versus the Bucks, by the way. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not so much going to take away this Lions win, but we do have to factor in some stipulations. But what Washington has done so far to get to this point, all you could do is give them a round of applause. They've gotten as far as any team expected them to get far in. No one expected them to get this far. Some people thought, okay, the Bucks gonna get them. Some people thought the Lions would get them. They said, nah, fuck out of here. Like, we going deeper in the playoffs, and they have, and they are. They're here. The only reason why they've gotten as far as they have in these playoffs is number 5 right there for the Washington Commanders. Because I tell you what, it's not because of their defense. Because if you can see, despite that, the Lions put up 31 in a losing effort. It's not because of their defense. Not really. It's not because of Brian Robinson. It's not because of De'Ami Brown. It's not even because of Terry McLaurin. Granted, he's good. He's damn good, Terry McLaurin, by the way. Not gonna mistake that. We know how solid he is. But he ain't the reason why you've gotten this far in the playoffs. Jayden Daniels is why you've gotten this far in the playoffs. Him and him alone. Because going into this season, any Commanders fan will tell you that in the face. This is supposed to be a rebuild season. They'll still tell you this. Look, if they lose this game, that's exactly what they're going to say is this was a rebuild year. They'll throw that in our face. So be ready for that, Eagles fans. They'll sit up here and say, oh, we weren't expected to go this far. You were supposed to beat us on some trash talk shit. You know that's coming. Watch when you get on social media after this game if Eagles win. But the only reason why they've gotten this far like they have is just Jayden Daniels, man. What he has done is not real as a quarterback. Now, there's one other quarterback that did just as good, but he didn't get this far in the playoffs. Honestly, I think it was the fuck was his name? You could say Joe Burrow, right? Was it Joe Burrow? I think it was Joe Burrow. I think they went to the Super Bowl in his rookie year. If I'm right. It was between either his rookie year or maybe I'm thinking Jamar Chase. It was somebody's rookie year. And they did just as crazy as a quarterback. You could say CJ Stroud, sure, but CJ Stroud didn't get this fucking far. But yeah. All we could do is give a round of applause to him, bro. He's gonna be a problem. And I tell you what, should the Commanders beat the Eagles in this game because of him, it's gonna have to be because of him. If Jaden Daniels goes nuclear in this game, Eagles, all we could do is just tip our hat and say good luck in the Super Bowl. If he goes absolutely nuclear, if he completes every pass, if he gets all these chunk plays through his feet, all you can do is tip your hat and say, look, that was a good game. Good shit. I can't even be mad. Because he beat the number one defense twice, and this would have to be legit because Jalen Hurts is on the field this time. This is where we got a problem with the Commanders, which I'm about to get to. When they beat the Eagles, week 16, right? I believe that's what it was. When they beat the Eagles. Y'all know what happened in that game. Jalen Hurts got knocked the fuck out that game. Like, you know what? That's actually an alert we should have added. Damn, we should have added the knock the fuck out alert. So, tomorrow when I do more alerts, let me know. But because I don't think I'm gonna be able to do alerts right now. I think right now we're so dead locked in with how this shit is with football. I don't think we're gonna be able to get to these alerts. But yeah, like I said, Jalen Hurts was knocked the fuck out. Not only that, we almost beat him despite Jalen Hurts not being there. Now, people are going to think, oh, Jalen Hurts, he don't play defense. You're right. But here's the deal, though. Jalen Hurts don't play defense, but Jalen Hurts keeps Jaden Daniels off the field. And they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Because, of course, you will be able to put up 5 touchdowns or 3 to 5 touchdowns. You would do that if you had more possessions, right? If Jalen Hurts is on the field and he slowly, systematically squeezes the life out of that clock, which we know the Eagles can and will do, how do you think that's going to affect the momentum of Jaden Daniels, who knows that, look, you're not only on a race against the Eagles, you're a race against the clock. Now, we go to his divisional game. That's one handicap I just mentioned when Jalen Hurts got knocked out. Because here's the deal. If he stays in the game, we're winning that game. Everybody and their mom knows we're winning that game. Every Commander fan, even though they're not going to tell you now, they know if Jalen Hurts is in that game, we win that game. Because look at the time of possession it would be if Jalen Hurts was in that game versus when he's not in that game. And like they said, we picked off Jaden Daniels 5 times. So could you imagine if Jalen Hurts was in while we pick off Jaden Daniels 5 times? I'm sure I can imagine what would happen. But let's go into this divisional game. What was the one key thing that everyone had a concern about with the Detroit Lions going into the playoffs? And it was why they fought so hard to get that number 1 seed and get it away from the Minnesota Vikings. What was the one thing that mattered to them the most about that number 1 seed? It wasn't just getting that bye week. It was added on top of that. The reason why they cared so much about getting that number 1 seed, and they cared about getting that bye week, and they cared about getting that home field advantage, was the fact that they are cooked on defense. And I mean cooked. They lost half their roster, half their defensive roster due to injuries. So you're damn right they needed all the rest that they could get going into the playoffs. And I can't ignore that. Because everybody knew when you saw the Lions go up against, when they went up against the Bills, when they went up against the Bears, what was the one problem the Lions had trouble stopping? The Lions had trouble stopping mobile quarterbacks. They couldn't stop Josh Allen from doing what he wanted. They couldn't stop Caleb Williams, actually. Let's be fair. The reason why they won, talking about the Lions, the reason why they won is because the Bears as a team is ass. But they could not stop Caleb Williams for doing what he wanted. And the way that I see it is this. If you can't stop mobile quarterbacks in this league, you're cooked. Because guess what? The whole league has running quarterbacks. Everybody has a running quarterback. Unless your name is the Falcons for some weird ass reason. The Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Commanders, the Dolphins to an extent. Yes, Tua is a pocket passer, but he will still run if he has to. The Packers. The 49ers might be the only exception, and even then I think Brock Purdy runs when he has to. Geno Smith with the Seahawks. The Texans. The Vikings. Who we will find out when it goes to how that Michigan quarterback does when he's healthy. The Chiefs. Maybe the Raiders. Will find out who they draft. All I know is this is the end of the day. If you don't have a mobile quarterback, this is not 2000, man. This ain't 2000. This ain't 2000 through 2000 and fucking 2015. That shit is over. Like, don't get me wrong, pocket passing is still there. It's still here in this league. But with how athletic these linebackers are, and with what you have to do to get an open look, unless your name is Tom Brady, unless your name is Peyton Manning, you better get ready to start using your legs to find an open look, because it gets real, real hard nowadays to find these open looks and get your wide receiver for a 5-yard play, 10-yard play, 4-yard play, 3-yard, not even 3-yard play, 4-yard play to be fair. However it looks. Now, if there's one thing so far, and we're gonna shift right over to the Eagles, because this is we're gonna shift right over to the Eagles. This is one thing that I need people to pay attention to. If there's one thing we're about to start leaning back to, maybe it's just to fit off the Eagles and how they operate. And I don't think any team can really go back to that era right now. Is we're about to start leaning back on the run game like it's 1990s or some shit. Like it's 2000 Broncos or some shit. You know what I mean? The Eagles, Ravens, Packers, they all did the one thing that NFL teams are fearing to go back to. And that's, they cherish the running back position. And they're actually using their running backs to win them these games. As much shit as Jalen Hurts is going to continue to get, even if he wins this game, which they should, by the way, they're all going to be like, well, Saquon carried you. And you know what I'm going to say to that? Good. Because I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry that you don't cherish the running back position like you used to. Because the Eagles, Ravens, Packers are telling you that you need to remember that there's a reason running backs are still here. You know, they're not dead yet. And Saquon's showing you why that they're not dead yet. He might do it again today. We're going to find out. But all I know is this. Eagles beat the Rams 28-22. I'll keep it simple. This game, thanks to this injury with Jalen Hurts, this game against the Commanders is going to hinge on one thing. Because of this game with the Rams, how mobile is he? If Jalen Hurts is as mobile enough as we think he is, the Eagles have like an 80% shot of winning this game. If he's not as mobile as he should be, the Commanders got a shot to steal one. We're going to find out in 10 minutes. But to continue on, Jalen Hurts with 15 to 20, 128, 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, 56 receiving yards. By the way, before I continue further and talk about the Eagles, I will say this with the Commanders and the Lions. Jared Goff is probably the only other exception to when I was talking about mobile quarterbacks. He did great this year, but make no mistake, when it comes to playoff time, do not place your bets on Jared Goff. Don't do it. You're asking for trouble. And for all the people that was sitting up there and clowning my head coach, Nick Sirianni, for how he runs this team, you notice this shit real quick, y'all? Y'all notice that you haven't heard a word about Dan Campbell in a negative light when it goes to how he ran this team winning the playoffs? You haven't heard a peep. None. And I'm going to keep that as a receipt. Especially if we win this game, I'm going to keep that as a receipt. Bro, they clown on Nick Sirianni every chance they get because they hate how he reacts to the sidelines. Oh, they hate his quote speeches, whatever. Nick Sirianni is what people want Dan Campbell to be, which is funny as hell. But we're going to clown him. Like, let's be real. I'm not going to sit here and act like we wasn't clowning on Nick Sirianni. Hell, I came here wanting him fired. I said that out loud, and he's shutting me up. But this shit here with the constant clowning of my coach has to stop. That man has gotten to a second NFC Championship game since he got here. I can't hate on him for that. Like, yo, whatever he does, which all he does is motivate his players, which, let's be honest, that's not a bad thing. Because, look, nobody looks at Dan Campbell for play calling. Nobody looks at Mike Tomlin for play calling. Y'all look at these guys, you look at these coaches and they're like, what do they have in common? They're motivators. That's all they are. They're not strategists, they're motivators. And that's what a team loves to have. You would love to have a motivator on your side. You would love to have someone to tell you you can do better, push you to do better, tell you, tell you this or tell you that, to make you want to be better and play better each and every game. Like, yes, as of late, some strategists have been winning some Super Bowls. Case in point, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. But you want to know what? A motivator did win a Super Bowl. A couple of them. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. And nobody really looks at him for play calling like that. They really look at him as a motivator, I guess. If they look at him that way. I don't even know what the fuck people look at Doug Peterson as. But, look, at the end of the day, Eagles, they did good versus the Rams, but I'm going to say this right now. That fourth quarter was scary. And if they choke, or if they come close to choking again versus the Commanders, we're not seeing a Super Bowl. I don't want to see that happen again. Vic Fangio, this is a key to the game for me when it goes to this Eagles versus Commanders game. Okay? It's the Eagles defense. As crazy as it sounds. As much as it is Jalen Hurts, it's more so Eagles defense. Can you not choke? Can you not give up at after doing good, if that makes sense? Let's say if they get a turnover, right? The next play, they'll just start playing soft. Why? I don't want to see that. Stop. Put your foot on the gas. Keep your foot at the fucking throat until that clock hits 0. Don't let up for any reason, because when you let up at any point, Jayden Daniels will see it. Jayden Daniels will kill you for it. So hopefully this time around, we get the best defensive performance we could ever get. Like, I want 2000 style Ravens defense from Vic Fangio today. Because guess what? 2000 style defense is the best way to compare this team, because we don't do as much on offense, but we do enough to win the game. And that's how I expect it to go this game as well. I want them to do enough to just win the game. Now, the best thing going right now for the Eagles defense, they're starting right guard or left guard, Cosme, he's out. And you know what that means. I'm looking at Jalen Carter. If I'm a Commanders player, I'm looking right at Jalen Carter, wherever the fuck he's at. Because you saw what he just did to the Rams. Do not be shocked if Jalen Carter, if they don't cover him, Jalen Carter is going to be the reason we go to the Super Bowl if they don't cover him. Because right now, that man is Ndamukong Suh reincarnated. And that's a scary thought, because the Eagles got more than just Ndamukong Suh at defensive tackle. They have a bevy of pass rushers that can get home and sack Jayden Daniels if they make sure that they play contain and not have them break containment, and get out the pocket. They did this in the first game. I expect them to do whatever they did in the first game that worked. I expect them to do this again. We will find out and see. Keys for this game when it goes to the Commanders. Commanders really just have to weather the storm and let Jayden Daniels do what he do best. If you could give Jayden Daniels 3 to 5 seconds of time. If you could give Jayden Daniels at least 3 to 5 seconds every snap, you have a shot of winning this game. Unless the Eagles secondary says otherwise. But Jayden Daniels has to be the reason you win this game. And if you get 5 seconds of time, if you keep on scrambling, you're going to eventually find a busted coverage. And I see this coming. Zach Ertz is going to be one of those reasons for these busted coverages, because we know how this shit be when it goes to former players coming back to face their teams. I expect Zach Ertz to be a reason why we'll find a busted coverage. If not him, then it's Terry. It's Scary Terry. I expect one of the two. Now they could also do the same thing that they did last game. That's how what's his name had a field day. Who's that third wide receiver they had? They could use him again and try to score with him. And we know they could do this. So that's why I'm not overlooking the Commanders under any reasons, because the Eagles can just as much not show up this game. And I would hate to see this. They can just as much not show up. And that's what scares me to my stomach, is they can just not show up on defense, and Jayden Daniels has the game of his life and go nuclear. I can see if they show up and he still go nuclear. All right, I can't get mad. But if you don't show up and he does it, I don't know what the fuck else to tell you but to be mad at the Eagles defense for not showing up like they should have. Eagles offense, I already said it. Just burn clock. Use Saquon Barkley, use Jalen Hurts, and burn clock, because guess what? They lost Daron Payne for this game. That's their best run stuffer. So the only thing I should see in this game is run. And unless it's play action where you see them coming down and they're looking to stop him, you should just run. That's the only time I should see it pass, is if it's play action. That's it. Just fake it like you're going to give it to Barkley and give it to somebody that's there. Because That's the only way that you have to keep being on the field at all times. And hopefully this is what they do. Kellen Moore, please don't fuck this up, because he fucked it up last game. This is why this game got even closer, by the way. Kellen Moore calling dumbass plays when he shouldn't, such as that safety that happened. It shouldn't have been a safety. They should have ran the ball. If we run the ball, we're not talking safety. So please, Kellen Moore, you are really 2 more games away from a Super Bowl. It's this game and it's the Super Bowl itself that you gotta play. You want to go be a coach? Fine. You can be a coach with a Super Bowl to your name. And I would hate if he sells in any of these games. All I want to see is 26 getting the ball and that offensive line handling their business. Now, I will say one thing before I go ahead and I move over to the AFC game. One more thing. Injury report for the Eagles. Cam Jurgens is probably out for this game, in case you guys never saw it. The starting center for the Eagles is out for this game. So we have our left guard who played center back in college. We're going to see how this shit go. Now, they say that he's active, but he's really not going to play. Let's be real here. He's not playing. He's only going to play as if he has no choice but to play. So right now, I trust in our offensive line. I trust in Jeff Stoutland. But all I want to see in this game is run, Eagles, run. Not fly, Eagles, fly. Run, Eagles, run. I'm going to be real. All right. This game, last game to cover before we get ready. Guys, go over to the Watch VC. By the time I'm done, this will start. Go over to the Watch VC. So with this game, it's real easy to come up with, real easy to think of this. The Bills, their key to victory is let Josh Allen continue go nuclear. He has to do it. Because guess what? If it ain't Josh Allen, who the fuck else is it going to be for the Bills? Offensively and defensively. Let that man go nuclear. Let that man loose. Joe Brady, I wanted him as an offensive coordinator. You're seeing exactly why in person why I wanted him as an offensive coordinator. Look at what the fuck he's doing to this team. Imagine if he had better players on his side. Oh my God. The world is in trouble. Imagine Joe Brady linking back up with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow for the Bengals. I actually want to see that. He links back up with them. We about to get a LSU repeat. So, yeah, man, if Chiefs are gonna lose this game, Bills need to let Josh Allen go nuclear. Let James Cook do what he can do. Let him slice them up and handle their business on defense. Good luck with that, because Chiefs defense is solid. Chiefs, what they need to do, real easy. Same thing like I said with Allen's, the same thing with Mahomes. Let that man go nuclear, because he's starting to find his rhythm. Let that man find Kelsey in a soft spot somewhere 20 yards down on some Jason Witten shit and catch a wide open pass. Like, me and Eagles know how this shit worked, because we literally had to witness Jason Witten doing this to us. And it's like, how the fuck are you so wide open? I'll never understand. This is the same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is what they're going to do. They're going to do that, and then they're going to let Kareem Hunt gash you for like 5-6 yards and wear you down. That's all this is. So, also, Chiefs defense, just keep being Chiefs defense. Let Chris Jones get in an A-gap somewhere and sack the hell out of somebody. That's it. You know, momentum shifter. That's where you know what? That's literally Chris Jones in a nutshell. All he does is shifts momentum so much. He could not show up the first 2 downs, but when it's 3rd and 4th down, you're gonna see him somewhere. And that's what's scary. He's that kind of guy. He's a game record on 3rd and 4th down. I'm looking at him every fucking play. All right, so for this, we got 4 minutes until the game starts. Here's my picks for this. Bills are going to beat the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 24-20, 21. It's going to win by game-winning field goal. Bills go to the Super Bowl. Eagles versus Commanders. This is going to determine on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles play calling. I'm going to say that right now, specifically on offense. If Jalen Hurts can run and the Eagles play calling shows up, it will be it. I'm telling you, we might win by like 2 possessions. If they show up, and should Jalen Hurts be able to run as good as we know he can run, he will show up. Granted, he's going to have a brace on, but we'll see. If they don't show up and Jalen Hurts is not running as good as he should be, this is going to be so close of a game that the Commanders will steal this game. I'm calling it now. If Eagles don't show up and or Jalen Hurts' knee isn't as good as it is, the Commanders are going to the Super Bowl. It all depends on 2 guys. Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts. We will see. And we're going to find out. But till then, guys, that's it. 2:58. Going to watch VC. I will be turning on the game right now. Till then, I will see you guys for the post game where we will talk about this game. I'll see if I could talk about the Chiefs and the Bills as well. I might wait till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whichever when that shit ends, and talk about it from there. But till then, guys, it's time. It's time to find out if we're going to the Super Bowl or if we're going to be sitting here watching a rival go to the Super Bowl. I'll see you then.